It's kind of surprising to me how similar Doom Annihilation and the original Doom movie are to each other. Neither one uses a franchise appropriately, opting less for crazy action and more towards tactical squad orders. But while Annihilation had some small hints here and there, so I could see what they were going for, this one feels like a completely different film with the Doom brand name slapped on it for no real reason. To be fair, this was just 1 year after Doom 3 released, which was much slower paced, so sure, I kind of get it. But even then, the story is so stupid and has so little to do with anything Doom related that I fail to see what they were going for. Unlike most of my reviews, I'm going to spoil a fair bit in this video. Consider this your warning. Just know that if you are going into this movie blind, expect about half the plot twist to be obnoxious and idiotic. In the far, far-flung future of 2046, scientists have established a research base on Mars where they're studying the remains of an ancient humanoid species. But then a monster appears and starts tearing through the space station and killing everyone along the way. The Rapid Response Tactical Squad, I think they're supposed to be a Marine Corps outfit, but whatever, it's not important. They're called in to investigate and neutralize the threat and rescue as many survivors as they can. With each subsequent plot reveal, the story gets dumber and dumber and dumber. Unlike Doom, the demons don't come from another dimension or another planet, depending on how you want to interpret things. Instead, an ancient humanoid civilization was able to artificially advance their species to superhuman levels by, get this, inventing and injecting themselves with an additional 24th chromosome. I'm no expert in the matter, but from what I understand, having an extra chromosome might be linked to Down syndrome. Now, in the movie's defense, this is all fantasy, so whatever, but the implications are unintentionally hilarious. Oh, but it gets better. Half of these people turn into zombified monsters upon death, while the other half are unaffected. Why is that? Believe it or not, this 24th chromosome is, apparently, actively seeking out whether or not a person is inherently evil.
It's choosing, John. It's choosing who to infect.
Choosing? How's it choosing?
There are genetic markers for psychotic and violent behavior. It could be a specific neurotransmitter it's picking up on. A ganglion, latching onto numbers in the DNA code linked...
Linked to what? Evil?
10% of the human genome is still unmapped. Some say it's the genetic blueprint for the soul. Maybe C24 is what destroyed the...
It is so stupid, and the worst part is that the whole story plays it completely straight. Like, we're supposed to take this seriously. No, absolutely not. Aside from all that, the movie has some ups and downs, but it's not downright awful either. It's just plain old bad and uninteresting. Some of the positives are things like the set design, for example. Even though you don't get the chance to see too much, most of the environments do look pretty cool, if not maybe too basic. The cast of characters is just that. Literally a bunch of characters. Their personalities are quite a bit exaggerated and over the top, but it's fun to see everyone interact with each other.
Where you going, Portman?
I'm going down to El Honto. I'm gonna lock myself in a motel room with a bottle of tequila and 3 she-boys.
You sick, man.
I'm sick of your filth, Portman.
Speaks.
That being said, it's like, half the time, none of this really goes anywhere. There's this side plot about how one of the characters is high on drugs and the movie points it out like they're gonna do something with that, but then nothing happens. And it continues to do this a couple of times, like, I don't know, what's the point? On the other hand, there is this overarching narrative about completing the mission at absolutely any cost. And this I liked. They committed to it, built it up, there's a payoff. A little cheesy, but good stuff. And at least everything goes along at a reasonable pace. It has a bit of a slow start, but most of the conversations are relevant to the plot and not just inane chattering. It also goes along kind of like a slasher movie where everyone is slowly and subtly picked off one by one. And I mean that for better and for worse.
Come on! Grab an arm! Damn, some bitch is hurting! Quick, he's slipping back! He's slipping!
Portman, what the hell happened?
I fell in the damn hole.
Everybody on me, watch your goddamn footing. Move.
As another example, the writing and acting are so bad. Why does she keep screaming like that? It's not convincing at all, and it doesn't make sense. Getting surprised the first time is fine, but then she just keeps going. And some of the dialogue is absurd.
Liver. Kidneys.
Dogs got kidneys, right? Pigs got kidneys.
What the hell kind of insight is that? What's the point of this? Doom's most awful and memorable scene is the extended first-person segment. I get what they were going for, obviously, but this plays out less like Doom and more like House of the Dead. And I mean that in the worst ways. The zombies and monsters rarely ever do anything. They just stand around and wait to get shot at. The whole thing is so scripted and slow that it comes off as insulting. Is this what the director thinks a first-person shooter game is like? Not to mention how often the camera cuts. They didn't even try to make this look seamless. The only part that I do think was pretty cool here was the fight against the Pinky Monster using a chainsaw. I thought that was fairly well done. For the most part though, this feels like a Hollywood production that was intended for a casual audience that cares nothing for the Doom franchise. Instead of unbelievable demons from another world, we're going to create some pseudoscience and everyone's turning into monsters because of a transmittable virus. The BFG's original name, which admittedly is a little bit silly, gets changed to the Bioforce gun. And they didn't want to bother writing a plot around a one-man army, so you have a whole squad instead of one guy. And yet, despite all these, I suppose you could say, more realistic revisions, the weapons still look like oversized toys as opposed to actual guns. It's so weird. They tried really hard to shoehorn and force the Doom brand name onto this, and I don't get why. They would have been better off making a totally original movie. Of course, it's one of those cases where if it didn't have the brand name on it, then it would have fallen off of everyone's radar and just have been zombies in space. So, I guess I can't blame them too much. The name alone got me to see the movie. Too bad it sucks. Well, anyway, thanks for watching my review on Doom.